Good morning, beloveds. I'm not sure I'm awake yet, but it is what it is. I'm like officially halfway through my vacation. All right, and yeah, here we are. But today is exciting. One, it's November 1st, and so new month, yay. Uh we've got 2 months left in the year. Wow, 2023, it's kind of flown by. But also, I get to go to the zoo today. So I'm super excited. So I'm gonna get this done and then go to the zoo. All right. As I said, it is November 1st. Our title is The Seekers of the Light Are One, and our author is May Rowland. This was published in Diamonds of Truth, Unity's 75th anniversary, which was in 1964. So they've passed a couple other anniversaries since then. All right. The Seekers of the Light Are One. Have you realized that there are people in every nation of the earth who love all humanity? People who are seeking to bring peace, understanding, and siblinghood into the world in which we live. These people are instruments of God wherever they are. Sometimes, as we think of world affairs, the outlook seems dark. We see only the working of evil forces and the preparation of instruments of destruction. After all, God, who created this world and called it good, is still in charge. Let us align ourselves with this tremendous power of God. We are children of God, and cooperation in expressing God is essential to our secure, satisfying future on this planet. In every nation on earth are the seekers of the light are one. It makes no difference what creed or dogma they follow, nor what they call their faith. The prayers of all people seeking the light unite as part of the great good of the world. I kind of figured that's where she was going to go. Because, yeah, it is sometimes. I don't watch the news. I don't watch the news a lot because it's hard. It's hard. The news definitely follows the playbook of if it leads, it bleeds. And honestly, sometimes the more horrific the story, the more time they spend on it. I'm just like, that's why I appreciated one of the newscasters who does the evening news, who I don't get home in time to watch him anyway, but he would always end his, national news broadcast with a positive story. And I appreciated that because I think it's important. When we start looking for the good, we see more of it. But the problem is when we start looking at the problems, we see more of those too. So it's like, where do we focus our attention? And so what May is reminding us of is that there are people in every nation, in every creed, in every faith who seek peace. And it's up to us to remember that, just because I say this when I talk about the Christ consciousness, I say every single living being is born with the Christ consciousness. But that's what we call it in the West because our example is Jesus, the Christ, right? So that's why we call it the Christ consciousness, because he was the best example of how that consciousness works. But in other faiths, they're going to call it something else. They would probably call it the Buddha consciousness in Buddhism, because Buddha, I don't know what Islam, I'm not sure if Islam would call it the Muhammad conscious because, but so that would be a question I would have to ask somebody of that faith. It's like, okay, here's the concept. What would you call it? In Hindu, they might call it a whole bunch of things, but probably the Brahma consciousness. Because when you look at Hindu, it's like, it looks like they have a whole bunch of gods, but they really don't. They have one. It's called Brahma. Everybody else is an aspect of Brahma. So, which is just, and it's like, you can do the same thing. People get all bent out of shape about Allah, but you know what Allah means? Father. It's just the Arabic word for God. We need to give each other a little bit of a pass. It's like, maybe ask what the word means before you get all bent out of shape, because it may mean exactly what you're saying. It's just in another language. And so she's reminding us that when we watch the news and we see all of this bad stuff, that we have to remember that there's just as much good, probably a whole lot more good out there than we think that there is. And to focus on the good, not onto the bad. It's one of the things that I'd like to get our politicians to do. It's like, would you stop focusing on the negative and start putting our money on into things that are, constructive and positive. But, all I can do is vote. So I try and do that on a regular basis. When it comes to the politicians. But what I can do in the rest of my life is exactly what she says. I can focus on the good. I can focus on where God is, which is everywhere. I can focus on the peace and all of those gifts. And when I meet people that are, of the light seekers, it's like I recognize my sibling. I recognize, beloved child of God who knows who they are, who is working towards the peace. We're siblings. We're siblings. We are definitely related. What is it? We are children of God, and cooperation in expressing God is essential to our secure, satisfying. That's it. When we meet each other, that's what we're doing. And when we meet people that are not, it's like you may have forgotten who you are, but let me hold the space to know that you're a beloved child of God. Let me hold the space for you to know that you are God in expression, that you are expressing God. And then that's why I was like, sometimes I do have that conversation where I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's talk about the God of your understanding. Are you expressing the God of your understanding? Well, the truth is you are expressing the God of your understanding all of the time. But maybe what we need to do is go back and look at the God of your understanding. The God of my understanding is loving and non-judgmental and not a personality. The God of my understanding cannot judge because there is nothing outside of the God of my understanding. So there aren't different gods. It's just our understanding of God. And so even people who you look at and go, well, you clearly don't believe in God. Well, they do. They do. They believe in they believe in a kind of God that expresses the way that they are expressing, and I'm not going to argue about atheists because I have some wonderful friends that are atheists, and you know what? Their opinion is just as valid as mine when it comes to God. Because the truth is, what I believe is that there's something bigger than me, something more powerful than me, but I also call it life. There is a creative genesis to the world that I call God. I don't believe that God is an old man with a long white beard sitting in a chair with a great book in his lap. I don't think I ever did. And so growing up, when they were trying to teach me that, I was like, no, there's too much in the world for that to be, so, but the creative force that I can get behind, All right. So she's just reminding us that, look, in every faith, like I like to say, every faith has some truth. Every faith has a piece of the truth. No faith has all of it, but every faith has a piece of it. And in every faith, there are light bringers, there are light seekers. And that is what we want to focus on. We want to focus on seeking the light. Everything else will take care of itself. As we focus on seeking the light, then solutions to the problems the more negative problems that we could potentially be having will come. We don't have to focus on the problems. We can focus on the light, and those solutions will naturally happen. We will be guided into solutions that will support those dissolving. We've got work to do. I'm not going to tell you that it's going to be easy, but actually the work is easy. The work is easy. It's about focusing on the good and not being distracted from that. I won't tell you that occasionally it's not melancholy. So which is why I quit watching the news. It's like, I can't do that anymore. Occasionally, I know approximately when the weather comes on, and I'll That's when I watch the news. Okay. The mission today, should we choose to accept it? Let me think about this. In every nation on earth are the seekers of the seekers of the light are one. It makes no difference what creed or dogma they follow, nor what they call their faith. The prayer of all people seeking the light unite as a part of the great good of the world. That's what we want to focus on. That's what we want to focus on. So she gives you this really great mission. The mission today, should we choose to accept it, is let us align ourselves with this tremendous power of God. Let us align ourselves with this tremendous power of God. What does that mean? Well, that's going to be different for everybody. But what it does mean to me, if I'm going to align myself with the power of God, is I'm going to look for the good. I'm going to practice love. I'm going to practice kindness. I'm going to practice compassion. I'm going to respond to every situation, ideally, with love, kindness, and compassion, because it's what I've worked on. I'm going to put myself in situations where I can be a peace bringer, where I can be helpful, where I can be a healing presence. Am I going to put myself in danger? Absolutely not. I'm certainly not asking you to do that. Okay. As women, no. I'm not going to put myself in a dangerous situation. But when I find myself in a situation where I can be a healing presence, I'm absolutely going to be that healing presence. So, and I'm going to look for opportunities to be that healing presence. And that's just volunteer work and things like that. And, in my day job, in what I like to call my mortgage paying job, I find that I can be a healing presence there. Well, that is me aligning myself with the power of God, aligning myself with the power of good. By being the beloved child of God that I know that I am, and by treating everybody else as the beloved child that I know that they are. That's how I align myself with the power of God. All right. So those are just some suggestions, because it's kind of a wicked mission today, right? It's a good one for All Souls Day. That's what November 1st traditionally is in a lot of the Christian faiths. To counterbalance Halloween, it's All Souls Day. It is a day of a celebration of our loved ones that have passed on. So, all right. The other mission is the same mission I give you every day, which is the spiritual practice of doing something loving for yourself, doing something kind for yourself, doing something compassionate for yourself, which is called self-care. If you are going to live a life of service, what you have to do is take care of yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup. So you must take care of yourself first, and then go do the work, and then come back and take care of yourself. I mentioned nope, you know what? I don't know where that was going, so I'm gonna drop that line of thinking. But what I am gonna remind you is that love, kindness, and compassion looks like taking a walk, taking a nap, taking a break. It looks like focusing on the good. It looks like taking a deep breath before you speak. It looks like focusing on the solutions, not the problems. It looks like pulling yourself out of situations that are really draining you. It looks like saying no. And it looks like remembering that no is a complete sentence. It also looks like saying yes to something that pushes you a little out of your comfort zone. I encourage you to do it daily, because what I want you to do is create a well-worn path to the source of your own being, to the connection of infinite love, infinite kindness, infinite compassion. I want to remind you that those three things don't come from you. Ideally, they come through you. You connect to the infinite source of that, and then you can let that flow through you. You don't have to drain yourself to do this. That's what I'm talking about, that empty cup. You can't pour from an empty cup. So connect to the infinite source. And you do that through regular spiritual practice, of which this is one. Self-care is a spiritual practice. I'm halfway through my vacation and I'm enjoying it. And some of it is that just kind of relaxations, like rest. Don't get me wrong. I love my job. I do. I love my job. I love working with people, but occasionally, I need to, and some of it we've just curled up in the house and done nothing. And it's wonderful, I commend it to you. So, and that's part of what practicing love, kindness, and compassion on yourself is. And I want you to practice on yourself because you are your own best test subject. You get immediate feedback. As I said, I want to create this I want to help you create this as a habit, but I also want to help you create it, as a first response, so that no matter what happens in your life, you can respond lovingly, kindly, and compassionately. Because when you can do that, then again, you are aligned with that power of God. When you respond lovingly, kindly, and compassionately to any situation, you're channeling God. So, all right, deep breath. And I'm going to remind you some of the other things that I like to say in this. You deserve your own love, kindness, and compassion because you're a beloved child of God. That's the main reason to do all of this. I also want to remind you that eating dessert first looks like love, kindness, and compassion. And I did it yesterday. I keep talking about that baklava and I kept not eating it. So I went into the kitchen to get, I made chili last night because, it was cold. Like the entire state of Texas probably made chili over the last couple of days because it's been cold. Like it might have hit 39 here. It may have dropped into the 30s. It's not going to stay there. It's going to be back in the 80s by Monday. But, so I went into the kitchen to start making it. And I was like, oh, I haven't eaten that baklava. So I ate the baklava while I was cooking chili. I ate dessert first. Okay. That's what it looks like. Did it spoil my dinner? No. Because I'm an adult and I can do that. You know me. I believe that chocolate is the first step to fixing anything. But most importantly, when I say that, what I wanted to remind you is that your life is a special occasion. Treat it as such. Go out of your way to make the ordinary extraordinary a little more often. So maybe, like I like to go to the theater and a lot of times we dress and every now and again we will dress up fancy to go to the theater. I like a friend of mine, several friends of mine are actors, so we're constantly going to the community theater to see plays. It's great. I love it. But then every now and again, we'll dress up really fancy. Like I always dress nice, but sometimes really fancy. And then eat the fancy foods. Eat the, if you have a bunch of fancy dishware, glassware, silverware, use it on a Tuesday, not just on the holidays. Use it a little more often. Make the ordinary extraordinary a little more often. Your life is a special occasion and you deserve it. Okay, I also want to remind you that, what's the last one that I always say? Oh, joy. Joy is a quality of God, therefore joy is a quality of you. Therefore, please make room for joy. No matter what's going on in the world. And again, another reason why I stopped watching the news, because, joy is a quality of God. Make room in your life for joy. I have cats, and that is frequently where my joy comes from. Today, Sugar was sitting on the bookshelf behind the couch, and her tail is in that perfect little priss curl, and I was like, she just looks so pretty. That brings me joy. So I took a picture, so I can go back and look at the picture, and it will bring me joy every time I look at the picture. All right, beloveds. I think I should wrap this up, because I want to go to the zoo. And I will remind you that we are creative life spirit. Oh, no, hang on. I'm losing my thread. The rest of the suggestions. Do something to engage your mind and your body, whatever that looks like for you. Drink plenty of water. Hydration is super important. I'm trying to decide if I want to take the mineral water before I go to the zoo or after I go to the zoo. Because right now, I forgot my magnesium last night. My calf muscles are kind of telling me about it. So drink plenty of water. Your brain, your body, and your skin look better and work better when they're well hydrated. Also, get that early in your day bright light. Because I'm on vacation and I have turned my alarm off, I'm not getting that early in my day bright light, but I'm getting the artificial, and that counts too. All right. 7 to 9 in the morning is when the sun hits the earth at a particular angle that is good for stimulating your circadian rhythms. It is good for stimulating your vitamin D levels without being all those harmful UV rays. And I'm only talking about 5 or 10 minutes. But if you get up before the sun, or you are on vacation and active after those hours, or you work late, so you get up a little later, artificial light will help. And as we move into the darker part of the years, because the time change is coming this weekend, then you can Google sun lamp or seasonal effect disorder lights. I think at this point, I think you could just order a light bulb that you could screw into a lamp. So that will provide the right UV rays, light length to do that for you. So try it. It's very important to me. Mental health is very important to me. If you've watched enough of these, you know that I talk about mental health on a regular basis. So, all right. And then I'm going to get you the Ernest Holmes quote. Open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you that you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around us all the time because it's all God. What May was talking about is how it doesn't matter the faith or the dogma or the creed or, what country they come from. Light seekers are light seekers. Well, it's the same thing with opening the windows of our soul, recognizing that heaven is not a place that we have to get to. It's a state of mind. It's a state of consciousness. We all use different words for it, but how much of a gift of grace is it to recognize heaven isn't a place we have to get to, but it's a state of mind that we can learn to create. And we come pre-installed with it. I talk about the Christ consciousness like it's software because my mom's an electrical engineer, and therefore, the password to activate it is love. Yes, absolutely. So, when you realize that heaven is a place, it isn't a place you have to get to, but can become any place you are in that state of mind. It's worth exploring. And the fastest way to get there is to listen to Emma Curtis Hopkins. Look for the good and praise it. Look for the good and praise it. It is absolutely, worth it. It's learn, because once you learn to do it for yourself, nobody can take it away from you. Absolutely not. And if we want to create a world that works for everybody, the work starts on ourselves, and that's where it starts. Learning about that heavenly mindset, learning to create that heavenly mindset, and then living it. Really, honestly living it. Because then we can hold our light up so that other people can know where to put their feet on their path. We can't walk their path for them, but we can hold up our light. All right. Look for the good and praise it. And count your blessings. Volunteer work and random acts of kindness are two of the fastest ways to change a grumpy mood. And when I say random acts of kindness, holding a door open for somebody, especially if they're laden up, that's a random act of kindness. And it's an easy one. It doesn't cost you anything, but maybe a couple of seconds. So try it. You'll like it. Okay. Now I'm at the social media part. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I'm the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. I commend them to you. There are hours of content on both the YouTubes and the Facebook pages. The advantage of the YouTube channels are you can look them up by in the playlists. So like if you want the Soul Session playlist, or if you want this thing called You playlist, or in mine, I've got them you can look the books by the month. So, you can go back and see what I was doing in 2020 was when I started this. And hopefully I've gotten a whole lot better since then. But, that's up to you to make up your mind. Okay. If you want to know what's going on with the center, you can email info@creativelife.org. That'll get you on the Constant Contact. And the Constant Contact, you get one email a month because it's a real person doing it. And you get the hot links are hot. If it says click here now, it'll take you right to the information you want or to the person that will help you get it. So feel free to take advantage of all of that. It is available. All right. Oh, yeah, I guess I'm at the part where I get to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day. A good, and I'm going to blow immediately, right? A loving day, a kind day, a compassionate day, a take yourself to the zoo day, a do something out of the ordinary day, what does she say? Where are those words? Cooperation day, an expressing day, a satisfying day, a seeking the light day, a recognizing in each other day, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, Simply have a day. You are enough, just as you are. You are a beloved child of God, in whom God is well pleased and well represented. You are a brilliant light, divine spark. You are spirit in motion. You are God in action. We are God expressing, always. You are, or as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you're a godling. All right? Know the truth of your being. It's extremely important to understand who you are. And you are not who you have been told you are. Not by culture, by religion, by society, by gender normatives, by people that know you, by people that don't know you, especially by people that don't know you. Who you are. So you want to peel all of that off and get to know who God knows you to be. And who God knows you to be is a beloved child of God. Who God knows you to be is a divine expression. Who God knows you to be is love. Start there. And I can promise you that that person that God knows of you is good and cool. So check it out. All right, beloveds. I will remind you that Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you around 9 a.m. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.